The subject is Bhakti Rupa Setu. Devotion acts like a bridge. The term Setu connects bridge. Its function is to connect two objects. Devotion is that bridge which connects Jiva unit with Shiva, cosmic consciousness. At first, one has to know about this Setu. He has to dissect and analyze minutely its every aspect, taking all the help of books. This is what is called the sadhana of knowledge. That is a Gyan sadhana. The endeavor to move towards this Setu is called the sadhana of action. That is a Karma sadhana. In philosophical parlance, Setu means the process of subjectivizing the objectivity. Some people are found misconstruing the real significance of devotion. They contend that since devotion is between Jiva and Shiva, where there is devotion, there is the existence of duality also. But had it been so, devotion would not have performed the work of a bridge. Until and unless the Jiva crosses the bridge, there is a duality. The moment the Bhav river is crossed, duality meets its Waterloo. The term Bhav connotes rebirth, resulting from the action of the unit mind. Devotion is a bridge over the river of Bhav. Bhakti is no sadhana. Devotion is not sadhana. The stage of devotion is reached through the sadhana of knowledge and action. The ecstatic experience generated by devotion leads one to a state of trance. A happy news stimulates pleasing emotions in one's mind and makes one laugh, sing and dance. The moment one crosses the bridge, one is lost in the state of complete trance. When a person is established in devotion, he becomes able to understand the greatness and magnificence of Shiva. The understanding at this moment is Anubhuti Siddhi, that is born of real experience through taste. Similarly, sweet things, that is mango and sugar, can be distinguished only by taste. One cannot enjoy the flavor of mango by seeing its reflection in water. One will have to get the tree, pluck the mango and taste it. Similarly, experience in the spiritual realm also can be had only after climbing a step on the tree of devotion. Only then one can understand the brilliance and greatness of Param Brahma, the transcendental cosmic entity. Param Brahma is omniscient. Param Brahma is all-knowing entity. Where consciousness is not converted into an object, there Brahma is called Parabrahma. Where it is transformed into an object, there we call it Apar Brahma. Jivas are the manifestation of Apar Brahma. The conversion of Apar Brahma into Parabrahma is the subjectivization of objectivity. Parabrahma is called Sarvagya, that is omniscient. The Sanskrit word Sarvagya is made of Sarva plus root verb Gya plus Da and means witnessing entity of all objectivities. He is in contact with everything in this universe, in the universe. He lives with every small or big entity. The term Sarva stands for the three belligerent principles of Prakriti. In Sarva, Sa stands for the sentient principle, Ra for the mutative and Va for static principle. Every minute's particle is within this Sarva. There is not a single place where he is not. He is the base of the universe. He is its ayatan. He is its ayatan. The term ayatan connotes adhivash, that is the dwelling place. A sadhaka can realize this only after starting his efforts to climb the tree of devotion. What is this universe? Where there is predominance of Bhairavi Shakti, the universe is unmanifested. The domination of Bhavani Shakti means the manifestation of the universe. The term Vishwa connotes expressed universe. He is in every particle of the universe. He is also well acquainted with the feelings in your mind. He is Mahat. That is a great. The term Mahat means matchless and also bereft of narrowness. Brahma is one and the same for all persons. Both sinners and pious persons are dependent on rather the descendants of Paramatma. Sukshmatram Vibhati. Paramatma is the subtlest of all. Your organs have a limited capacity. The subtlest is beyond their grasping power. The Sanskrit word sukshma, that is a subtle, means the minutest object of the sweetest sound which the organs cannot grasp. But the subtlety is not an absolute criterion. Something which is subtle for one may not be the same for the other. It is therefore a relative terminology. Paramatma is Nitya. The term Nitya means that which is uninfluenced by the time factor, that is beyond the periphery of past, present and future. The entity on which depends the existence of time is called Mahakal. Object subjectivized. Meditation is also action. For arousing devotion, action is an indispensable condition. Before crossing the bridge of devotion, one feels like you are that. But while crossing the bridge, one feels I am that. At that time, his object is subjectivized. From witness to witnessing. In common parlance, you say that Paramatma is the object of your mind. But as a matter of fact, everything in this universe is the object of Paramatma, who alone can be the subjective entity of the universe. Supreme subjectivity cannot be your object. The experience that you are always witnessed by him is devotion. One who realizes this attains the state of trance. The moment Tat is converted into Tvam, or vice versa, one starts feeling that he is not a witnessed entity but a witnessing one. There are three main stages of mind: conscious mind, subconscious, unconscious. These stages are experienced by the reflected consciousness. When Tat and Tvam become one in the life of a sadhaka, he starts feeling that it is not the reflection on these but his reflection on upper Brahma. At that time, Jiva entity for him becomes upper Brahma. The identification of his unit identity with Brahma makes him free from virtue and vice. 4 dhammas. The term dham connotes home. Actually speaking, there are 4 dhams: conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind, dhamless, houseless state, or niralamb avastha or turiya avastha. In the first 3, the object of thinking is not original. No original creation is possible in these stages. Even during dream or slumber, the objects already perceived by the conscious mind are recreated again. In the unconscious mind, the object perceived by the conscious mind is completely identified with the perceiving entity, and naturally the imaginary figure of ghost, for instance, becomes a reality there. But in Turiya stage, original creation is possible. Man consumes an object mentally. In these three stages, the object of your thinking is your own expressed counterpart. A portion of yourself becomes bhokta and another portion bhogya. Bhokta is sagun par, bhogya is sagun apar. The neutral or nirpeksh part is nirgun. Your own unit consciousness, mahat and ego are bhokta and chitta is bhogya. Bilakshan, in collective life also some become bhokta and some bhogya. But those who are bilakshan or viprit guna, that is neither bhokta nor bhogya, will feel that their real nature is manifested in realizing, I am Sadashiva, or consciousness personified. The term Sadashiva means always being in consciousness. Sadashiva was also a historical figure. About 7,000 years ago, he had come with his blessing of Tantra Sadhana. He was Mahakal, that is, one who can arouse other sleeping divinity. Mast Shiva. There are numerous glands in human body. The secretion from the upper glands affects the lower ones, but not vice versa. The secretion of the pineal, the uppermost gland, affects all other glands in the human body, but dirty or crude thinking does not allow the secretion to come down to all the glands and thereby influence them. Pious thinking, on the other hand, allows the pineal secretion to affect every gland and leads one to the state of trance or samadhi. The psychological implication of samadhi is the merger of the unit with cosmic consciousness, and its biological interpretation is the influence of the pineal gland over other glands in human body. Samadhi was always a state of ineffable bliss due to the influence of the hormone of the pineal gland. Naturally, some misconstrued his joyous state as if he were intoxicated by smoking. Shiva, the Chandrasekhar. What does the crescent moon over the head of Shiva connote? At the time, people used to think some portion of the moon as invisible. They had divided the moon into 16 kalas. The 16th one was invisible to them. They placed the pineal gland in this invisible portion of the moon. This crescent moon is also called Amakala or Indu. Shiva acquired appellations like Chandrasekhar, Chandrabhushan, etc. The limited human mind grasps external physicalities with the help of organs. But a bigger mind, cosmic mind, for instance, need not take the help of organs, just as they are not needed for knowing your own thoughts. He whose mind is immanent in every particle of the universe does not need the external help. Identify your mind with this and you will realize that even the minutest of the objects are you. You are the Pacific Ocean. The universe, which is the manifestation of Bhavani Shakti, will appear as your own manifestation. The universe, which is the Leela of Sadashiva, also gives him infinite ecstatic bliss. You meditate on him and he meditates on you. He is the oldest of the entities. Puratan, Prachin means old and Puratan connotes oldest. Since Shiva is the oldest of the entities, he is the father of all. But he has no father of his own. None can say who his father was. The moment one realizes him, one starts feeling that he is the controller of everything, the golden, glittering entity. He feels that he is effulgence personified. His identity is a Shivoham, that is, I am Shiva. This realization is unlikely without devotion. Devotion is the bridge, proper knowledge and action are also needed, but devotion is the prime factor, the essence.